Sport tonight, back to Dunedin's Chinese Gardens, where we profile Southern Steel's Aussie imported defender, Demelza McCloud.
Whereabouts in Australia did you originate from?
Well, I don't tell many people, but I was born from a country town in Victoria called Wodonga, and then I sort of grew up and went to school in Brisbane. So, sunny Queenslander, banana bender. I was probably going to be short until I went up there to the sunshine, and that's where I started playing netball when I was about 15. I was a late bloomer to the sport, but yeah, I've loved it ever since.
Did you make rep teams, Queensland rep teams?
Yes, funnily enough, my first Queensland team in schoolgirls, we did a bus tour of the North Island, and I remember being billeted out in Wanganui to this family, and I don't know who they are. So
wasn't Jodie Brown's family?
No, it wasn't, but it's funny that you say that. And they took us to the pub, and I was only 16, and I thought, this is really cool.
You haven't been back since, though, have you?
To Wanganui?
Yeah.
Oh, I'm a bit afraid.
Oh, that's terrific. So, at that stage, did you think, well, I could actually get a lot further in this game?
Well, it all happened really fast for me. Following on from under 16s and schoolgirls, I kind of made the Institute of Sport really quickly, and other state teams, and then I was in the Australian team program, and then I got signed by the Thunderbirds and moved to Adelaide. So from 15 to 20, everything happened really, really fast, and I was really lucky. And I guess I'd always thought that I would go and represent Australia on track or something. I'm nowhere near good enough for it, but I always dreamt of an Olympic gold or something. And then this netball juggernaut took over, and I've had the best time and the most amazing career ever since. So I'm very lucky.
So your first franchise was who?
The Thunderbirds.
Okay, and how much game time did you get for that?
Oh, I played 6 years with the Thunderbirds, so I've got up to almost 100 games and played 3 grand finals and a lot of series, and played with some absolute champions like Catherine Harvey-Williams and the Von Berto sisters and Nat Medhurst and stuff. So I've been really lucky, saw a couple of generations through, and that team really did set me up to have a different level of competitiveness and also professionalism, and it's a hunger to win. So I was very lucky with those days in the Thunderbirds.
You've moved around a little bit since then. Where was the next move?
So after the CBT finished, and well, actually just before, I came down to the Rebels and I played a season in the National Bank Cup, and I loved that so much. I loved Dunedin, and formed some really great friendships with some girls in that team. And going on from the Rebels in the ANZ Championships, I started off at the Tactics, which really there was 4 of us that moved from the Rebels up to Canterbury and played there, so it felt like a continuation of my time here in Dunedin. And then I was a little bit homesick, I think, or I just wanted to go back to Australia, and I ended up at the Queensland Firebirds, and that was fantastic, a great year. Vicky Wilson was our coach, just to play with Laura Geitz and those girls who are now reigning premiers, so that was a lot of fun, you know, being back in Brisbane and see my school friends, and the lifestyle there was really amazing. So it's been a journey. Then I thought, oh, I'll hang up the boots, and then I thought, no, I won't hang up the boots, and I injury replaced for the Vixens the following year, and again, just another style, I guess, and learning all the time. You never get too old, and that was brilliant. You know, Sherelle and Bianca Chatfield and these big names, and you're amongst it, and I was in awe at times with how they went about their business. So, and here I am, back down in the south, in my beautiful Alizé blue, like we call it, and so happy to be in the Southern Steel, and particularly playing with Jodie and under Janine and Nat Av, so it's great.
How did that connection come about? Did they approach you, or were you looking for somewhere to go?
I had thought about returning to the league, so I won't say I wasn't close to the idea. And then Jodie just got in touch one day and said, what are you doing at the moment? You know, what are your plans? And they were looking for a tall and experienced defender, and I sort of said, I'd love a shot, you know, and I'd definitely come back. And they spoke. Jodie took that news to the coaches, and they got their heads together, I suppose, and decided if they wanted me, and went about the business of it happening. So I was really lucky and really happy to be back in the league.
Because that's the important thing. You've got to be driven, don't you? You've got to be comfortable in yourself to get to compete at this level.
Yeah, absolutely. And last year, in 2011, I played with my mighty club side in Adelaide called the Matrix Netball Club, and we play in the Subway Cup State League, and it's quite a good competition, and we won the flag, and it was my first premiership in 11 grand finals. 11 or 12, 11 I think. So I was so thrilled to finally got the bacon last year, and I didn't think that I could get, and I still don't know if I will ever get as happy as I was to win that premiership. But I was in pretty good form, and yeah, to lead the side to the flag was a big deal. So when the opportunity came about and I was so ignited and my passion was so huge for the game still, I thought, why not play at the highest possible level you can for as long as you can.
And positionally, what's your first choice?
I love running out of my cage at goal defence these days. I think because I've had a couple of seasons out there and just feel free to roam, but I'll just go, as long as I'm on the court, I'm happy with wherever.
And your height dictates that you've got to be somewhere near the net.
Yeah. I would like a shot at wing attack, but they're generally not really that keen on letting me go down there, so I'll probably have to stick in the defence end. I'm not pretty enough to be a goal shooter.
Now, I want to just talk about your personal life. Where do you think you'll end up once you do give up? Now, will you go back to Brisbane and make that home, do you think, or travel? Or?
Yeah, I don't know. I'm going to the States for a month at the end of the season this year, which will be great. I do love to travel. I have a business in Adelaide that's just trucking along and running itself. Well, I've got a great manager there, so...
What sort of business? Tell us about
I have a marketing and PR business. I do promotional events and small marketing campaigns for businesses that don't have marketing arms internally.
Okay.
So I really love what I do as my job. I started off in radio and I've come out of there in the promotions industry, just little team of brand ambassadors taking to the streets, delivering people's messages, which is great. So Pro Exposure is trucking along nicely in Adelaide, and I'll have that tie to the city. But I'm a bit of an adventurer, so I'd like to play a couple of seasons here until I'm absolutely done, or they say, no thanks, can you go to the retirement home please, old lady, here's your Zimmer frame. And then I'll see where it goes. I might open up the business somewhere else, who knows.
Do you look far ahead, or do you just decide, I'll just give it my best shot and then reassess at the end of the season?
I try to look far ahead, but realistically I'm better if I just focus on the now. And if I don't get too tied down in what's happening in the future, I lose sight of where I am at the moment. But at the moment the plan is, and in my mind is, I want to just keep playing, and I'm happy here, and I really love being in Otago, so you know, that's good enough for me at the minute.
You have to share a story with us. I can't tell you which coach you came from, but she has an Australian accent. Something to do with a shower.
Oh yes, I had a nasty fall after an event in October. I came home from the event, I was a bit tired, and I was thinking about Greek food and red wine in the shower, and I was just shaving my legs, and they're long so it takes a while. And I slipped and I smashed a ceramic tray that was on the wall and sliced up my arm and sliced up my back and did some nerve damage and nearly bled to death waiting for the ambulance to come, and I was all home alone. And the worst part of the story is that I was naked waiting for this ambulance person, and I wasn't allowed to get pants or a towel or anything because I couldn't stop the bleeding. And so the poor ambulance people had to come into my house where I was naked, and the shower was still running. So it's Australia, you can't have the water running for 20 minutes without any reason. So I was panicked of the water restrictions, and I was going to die, and I was naked. It was just awful.
Sounds like a scene from Psycho.
Yes, it was. The house looked like I'd been in Psycho, that's for sure.
Were you actually worried though? I know we laugh about it now, but this sounded quite serious.
Yeah, there was a time when I thought, oh my God, I couldn't get my iPhone to work because I was wet and bleeding, and I couldn't get the slide screen to work to call the ambulance, and no one has home phones these days. Yeah. So I was thinking, what am I going to do if I just can't get any help? No one was going to be home for a day or so, and because people are away. So I thought, what am I going to do? And I just thought, this could be it, but what happened was I kicked like a bit of, must have been survival instinct. Right. A bit of my Bear Grylls kicked in, and I went and got a tourniquet and tried to do some stuff as best I could, and it all worked out. But yeah, it was really bizarre how calm I was. The ambulance person didn't take me seriously. They thought I should just get in the car and drive, and I was like, you don't understand. Half my arm's hanging off. You should probably come and visit me right now.
You're very fortunate then.
Yeah.
All right, let's talk about the competition coming up. You've had a look at the teams in Tauranga. What's your assessment? Is it going up another level?
Every year. People are fitter, faster, stronger every year. I'm older, they're younger. The Firebirds again are just looking phenomenal. They're such a slick unit, and they're hard to the ball, and I was really impressed with the Mystics and the Magic as well. Now that I'm a quasi-Kiwi, we've got to get some of those Kiwi sides up higher in the competition. You know, again, it was 1-2 to Australia at the pre-season tournament, with Melbourne coming second. It'd be nice to see a few more of us over there challenging. So it'll be interesting to see how Norma Plummer goes with her team over from Perth in the Fever, and managing a team week in and week out after she's had a few years in charge of the national side. And I think you'll just find that you know, the Pulse are going to come up this year. They've recruited really well in the off season, so you never know what is going on. This league changes so much, and you can't rest on your laurels. And the Tactics, again, you know, they're hungry for some wins. They're sick of where they've been finishing up, so they were really quite strong and very, very determined on the court on the weekend as well. So let's just hope we can match it and we can get through some of the injury woes we've been dealing with. And Donna has done a great job to get back from her daughter being born. She's just going from strength to strength. So got a month to get a bit more consistency, and then we'll see what we can do to match some of those other teams.
All right, completely away from netball. What do you do to get completely away from netball?
I love to dance, and I don't mind wine.
At the same time?
Yeah, generally.
And what are we talking? We're talking tango, Strictly Come Dancing, are we?
I'm not fussy.
All right.
And I definitely just enjoy hanging around with people, having a good laugh. Not too serious, not into book clubs and things like that. So most things I just like to be social, love shopping and travelling, that sort of stuff, anything out and about. But and my work, I actually really enjoy my work. So away from netball, I love just thinking about what events are next and doing reports and fluffing around with photos and invites and all those sort of things. So I'm very lucky to love my work so much.
Just a quick question about Australian netball. All the girls are full-time professionals. Can you make a full-time living these days in Australia?
Not really. Sometimes I think it's tough because of the lifestyle that we've grown accustomed to. Netball was always your side thing. So you had your full-time job or what have you, and then netball was on the side. And in terms of commitment and dedication, it wasn't on the side, but the money and those sort of things were on the side. So it was always just that bonus. And some players are slowly being able to start making a big living out of it, especially if you're representative. But generally, and I spoke to a lot of my mates from home over the weekend, and they're still working full time, and they've all got degrees. Over 70% of netballers in the ANZ Championship have degrees. So they're all working in fields of, you know, occupational therapists, teachers, lawyers, accountants, journalists, PR professionals, all sorts. We've got some med students, everything. So people are just really focused on life after netball as well. So, yeah.
All right, last question. You've got to tell me one thing about yourself that your teammates might not know. Here's a little bit of a surprise.
Okay. I really, really love children's animated films, and I'm not ashamed of going to see them on my own.